That's why I'm taking these things down. I'm tired of hitting my head on them. Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. I think it's about time we get this project wrapped up. As you saw in the intro, we got all of our temporary bracing out. We got all of our scaffolding out. I'm tired of hitting my head on that stuff, and I'm glad that it's finally gone. So now you can start to get an idea of what this looks like without all that extra lumber encumbering the space. Now that all that bracing is out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and start getting the siding finished up here, the board and batten siding. If you missed the last one, this is what it looks like from the outside. And this is what it's gonna look like on the inside. So we're only doing this wall and the back wall. This one I'm gonna leave open, so if I wanted to pull anything in here, we still have a nice little flat spot. I can maybe park a zero-turn mower or a four-wheeler. And with the wind and everything coming from this way, it would still be halfway protected because the rain as it comes down is gonna wanna blow that way. So things in this area would still be partly protected, maybe not throughout the winter, but throughout the summer, that'd be a good parking spot for the lawnmower. So I'd like to leave that side open. Once we get done with the siding, really the only thing that's left to do is start hauling some gravel in here and backfilling up to the bottom band board there so we don't get snow drifting in underneath the side of the building. Well guys, there is the finished new equipment shed. I think we're ready to move some equipment in here. As many of you saw in our last video, we recently just got a new piece of equipment, so you already know what's going to be going in here first. Well, that didn't last very long. Worth a shot though. All right, so I say we're done with the equipment shed, but we're like almost done. We're like 99% done. There's a couple small little things we still have to do. One, if you look here, I still need a cover plate to cover up that right there. We did run out of purlins on the back. So I think I need like 3 or 4 more, or not purlins, but batten strips. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 batten strips on the back. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said I thought I'd be able to get either the 4-wheeler or a 0-turn or something right in here, because as you can see, this is still actually completely underneath the roof. I mean, if we get wind from that direction, which we very rarely do, this could get some snow or rain on it. But for the most part, our wind comes this direction, so it should blow right over top of the 4-wheeler sitting there. And as you can see, both tractors fit in this shed very nicely with plenty of room to spare. This is a 20 by 20 So we've got plenty of room for the tractors. I could even throw even a brush hog on the back of either tractor and still have the front of the tractor in underneath the roof. So we've got to finish that. We've got to finish the batten strips on the back. And the only other thing that I still wanted to do before I can call this complete is get about 3 or 4 inches worth of gravel in the bottom here just to raise that up. Today is Saturday, and I don't know if you guys know this about your sand and gravel pits, but typically after about Thanksgiving, they stop being open on Saturdays. I had to learn that one the hard way. I was planning on going and getting a couple dump trailer loads of stone this morning, but they get real slow this time of the year and they close on Saturdays. Normally throughout the summer, they're open until about 10:30, 11 o'clock or something on Saturdays. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait for another day to get some stone in here. Here's what this side looks like with all the batten strips finished. Tell you what, now that this is done and I can see the color of the stain versus the natural wood, really makes me want to get the sprayer out and get the rest of this stain. But I'm gonna be patient and wait until spring and get that taken care of. One thing we didn't talk about yet was what we did on this side. You know, we brought the roof down a little bit and did the same thing, board and batten up there just so it matches everything. And here's what it looks like with the LSMT 357 and the excavator in here. And this is exactly why we made the front end of this building so tall, because I wanted to be able to pull the excavator in here without having to curl the boom all the way down and curl the stick all the way in. Being able to pull in here without worrying about, in the normal operating position without hitting the header coming in here. This is 12 feet tall. That header up there is 12 feet tall in the front, and in the back it tapers down to 9 feet tall in the back. So yeah, both of these machines fit in here very comfortably as well. All right, guys, now that the equipment shed is finally wrapped up, let's talk about how much money we have invested in this, and more importantly, how much money we saved by milling a lot of the lumber ourselves and building it ourselves. So for starters, for what we spent in the foundation, this would be rebar, sonotubes, concrete, the 6x6 post base brackets. For the foundation of the building was about $1,010. And then, as you guys saw, if you followed the whole build, we did not mill all of the lumber ourselves. We milled a lot of the bigger stuff, the siding, the posts, the headers. But as far as what we bought, this would be for the trusses, the wall girts, a lot of the 2x4, 2x6, 2x8 material. I just store-bought kiln-dried lumber from the box store for that. And we have about $867 worth of store-bought lumber. That pales in comparison to the value of the lumber that we milled ourselves. We'll get to that in a second. As far as hardware, screws, hurricane ties, nails for the nail gun, the hardware total came out to about $311. Now, if you're gonna go out and buy everything from scratch, that number is probably gonna be a little bit higher. All of the roofing screws, I repurposed. We had about 3 extra bags from when we did the garage edition, and that covered the entire roof. So I didn't have to buy any roofing screws. You could calculate that cost into the building as well. The metal roofing itself, I think we had 8 panels up there, and it was $832. And again, the building is 20 by 20, but the roof with the overhangs was about 26 by 24. It's a little bit longer on the front and back overhangs than it is on the sides. So 24 by 26 roof, and the metal panels were 26 feet long, 8 of them, $832. And then the last thing is just stain. I bought 5 gallons of that Ready Seal because it's more economical to buy it in the 5-gallon pail, and I knew I was gonna need that much anyway. We used about half of it on the whole roofing system, and I have the other half left to do the walls and everything, and that should go a lot quicker since I won't be spraying upside down, and I can just, go to town on the siding. So that brings the grand total of what we outlaid in cash for this building to $3,220. That's not bad for a 20 by 20 building. Now, let's talk about how much money we saved by milling some of the lumber ourselves. So I mentioned we milled the 6x6 by 12s, which would be what we used for our posts and our side support gussets. And if you price those out, now granted this would be pressure treated because you can't buy non-pressure treated at the box store, but those were $50 a piece. So that would be $400. And then I milled the headers, which we milled those out of 3x10 by 12s. We needed 6 of those, and those would be about $13 a piece. Now you can't buy 3x10s at the store. I've mentioned this before. That's what I love about owning a sawmill, is being able to mill exactly what you want. So at the box store, the closest I could get to that would be 2x10s. Those are $13 a piece, and that would have been $78. The siding boards, which were 1x10x12s, this is what blew me away. 1x10x12 from Home Depot, they are $33.68 a piece. So realistically, it probably would have been cheaper to do metal siding than it would have been to do, or it probably would have been about the same, honestly. But I needed 46 1x10x12s to go around the side of the building. And at $33 a piece, that would have been $1,550 that we saved by milling our own siding. And then as far as the batten strips, we would have needed 46 of those as well. And those are $6.62. So that's $304 for a grand total of lumber that we milled ourselves that we were able to not have to go spend at the box store, $2,332. So effectively, we spent $3,220 on a building that if we had bought everything and didn't own a sawmill, it would have cost us $5,552. Now, as far as what we saved in labor costs, I have no idea. We did a lot of the work ourselves. We had help from neighbor Doug and Kyle from Spicer Designs. And all I know is I paid them a couple of good meals. I mean, the finest leftover Halloween candy. But I've always heard a good general rule of thumb is take your material and double it. So if we were at $5,520 for the material that we would have spent, I think it would have been safe to say to pay somebody to come in here and build that probably would have been another $5,000. So, you know, $10,000 to $11,000 would have been our all-in cost if we had paid somebody to do this and we bought all the materials instead of milling it. And what we actually spent was about $3,000. So we saved somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000 to $8,000 by milling the lumber ourselves and building it ourselves. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the shed build series. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and don't forget, go over, check out neighbor Doug's YouTube channel, One Eye Customs, and Kyle from Spicer Designs. They were incredibly helpful in building this building. I don't think I could have done it without them. And not only that, but like when it got time to actually building the roof and putting the metal panels on and everything, that roof was like a ½ an inch out of square. I was completely blown away that we really didn't have much adjusting or tweaking we needed to do when we were laying those metal panels up there. So those guys are definitely true craftsmen. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.